Number one, we're going to go ahead and grab both of the 12 by 12 squares that are in the box. And then you're going to need 8 of these 1 by 1 connector pins. And we're going to start with the left side. So on the left side, at the bottom, we're going to count over 3 holes. So 1, 2, 3. At the top of the left, 1, 2, 3. Then still on the left square, we're going to go to the right edge of it and put it on the last hole. This is the 12th hole from the left or the first hole from the right. Then we come down to the bottom of the left square, and we're going to start from the right, count over the 2 spaces. So this will be the 2nd space from the right or the 11th space from the left. Alright, so the left square is done. Now come over to the right square, and starting up here at the top, we're going to go to the 2nd hole. Then if we come down here to the bottom, first hole, 2 more. Then if we go to the top of the right square, I'm going to go to the 3rd, so 1, 2, 3. And then come to the bottom of the right square, and then 1, 2, 3. Alright. So now you can go ahead and put them both together, kind of like a sandwich, and grab your yellow 1 by 20 pieces, the longest yellow pieces you have in your set. And you're going to attach them at the last hole for each one. So see, I'm at the last hole. Put that in. Do the same thing at the top. And it should hold them together. Alright, now we're going to need 4 more of the white connector pins. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now start on the left side again. So you're going to come to the last row on the left side. And I want you to count up from the bottom. So 1, 2, 3. Stop at the 3rd hole. Put a pin in. Then count from the top and stop at the 3rd hole. So 1, 2, 3. Anything you do to one side, you want to do to the other side. So we did that on the left. Now we come over to the right. Do the same thing again. So 1, 2, 3. And then from the top, 1, 2, 3. Alright, now you want to grab 2 of the 1 by 8 yellow beams. That's what they're called, beams. So you know it's 1 by 8 because if you count it, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. You skip the middle hole. 5, 6, 7, 8. And then it's only 1 row. So that's how you know it's the 1 by 8. So same thing you did with the first beam. Just find the last hole. Push it in. So that it's at the top and the bottom. Do the same thing to the other side. Alright, and then again, everything should be attached to hold everything together. Alright, now moving on to step 5. You're going to need 4 of the white connector pins. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1 of the 2 by 12 beams. So you know it's the 2 by 12 because 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So now for these 4 connector pins, they're going to actually go into, instead of a what they consider a whole row, is going to go into in between, which they consider a half row. So starting down here at the bottom, on the left side, at the last row of the left square, we're going to count up to 6 and a half. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then if you cut across to that kind of like uneven row, this is 6, so then that's 6 and a half. So we're going to put our first connector pin in 6 and a half on the left square. Now staying on that left square, we're going to count straight across and we're going to go to the 5th hole in that middle row. So starting with the pin that you already put in, that's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, and then same thing we said before. Anything you do to the left, you do to the right. So staying in the same row, but we're just going to hop to the right square and go to that first row in that same line. So it looks like that. See how we're still in the same line, just on the right square. And then starting from that right one, we're going to count across the 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you put it in. So now grab your 2x12 beam that you should already have out. And you're going to use not the top row, not the bottom row, but the middle row. And you're going to attach it to the pins starting from the pins that's already in the board, starting from the last one. So it looks something like this. And it looks like that. Alright, moving on. Now you go ahead and flip the board over. And you want to grab 3 of these. These are considered corner connectors. Notice that the ones that you're using has only 1 hole at the top and 1 dot at the middle. You do have another set that looks similar, but notice how this one has 2 dots instead of 1. You with the one with one connector at the bottom. So starting with the left side, we're going to count over 3 and then up 3. So you count over 3 is 1, 2, 3. You're right there at the connector pin. But then if you count up from that one, so 1, 2, 3 again, you're going to be in the middle of it. So both of those connector pins, put that in. Notice how there's a lip on that corner connector. Make sure that lip is facing away from you. Okay. Now you should have 2 left. These 2, again, we're going to count half of spaces. So this is going to go into 4.5. 4.5 up and 7.5 across. So start from down here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then remember I said about the half, you just go up 7.5. Okay. So we're at hole number 7.5, but now we need to go up 4.5. So staying in that row, we'll just be going up 4 spaces. So starting here is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where we are. Make sure that lip is facing toward you. And now the second one is going to go in 3 spaces over, but in the same row. So this one was in 7.5 across and 4.5 up. This next one is going to go to 10.5 and 4.5 up. So if this is 7, I know this is 8, this is 9, and that right there would be 10. Alright, so on the right side, notice that the lips are facing towards me, and on the left side, the lip is facing away from me. Now grab 2 of the white connector pins again, and put those in the right side. Just the right side. So 1 and 2. Again, I'm making sure that those connector pins are going the same direction as the lip, and on the right side only, the lip is facing me. Okay, for the next few steps, we're not going to need this board, so we can go ahead and put this board to the side. And you're going to need 2 of the yellow 48 tooth gears. So those are the yellow ones. 2 of those. You're going to need 1 of these gray connector pins. Notice how this gray connector pin does not have a top on it. So there is one that looks just like this that has a top, but notice how both ends are open and both ends are square. Make sure you got the right piece. That's what you need. You just need 1 of those. You need 2 of these standoff pieces. So you know you have the right standoff because notice how there's 4 little divots in it. That's the right one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You need 2 of these. And then lastly, you're going to need this gray connector pin that has a top on it. Notice how this has a darker gray color than the ones that we used before. So there's one that looks exactly like it. That's white. That's not the one we need. We need the gray one, not the white one. you know you have the right one because of the color, and also if you look at them, you'll see that the one that we need has a square shape and the one that we don't need has a circle. So square is when we need. I'm going to put the circle to the side. And then also, forgot, we need these corner connectors, the 2x3. They kind of like domino pieces. We need 2 of those. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is grab that corner connector piece, and then grab our gray connector piece, and with the piece facing us and also with the lip facing us, come to the right side but from behind and push that connector pin through the hole from the back. Okay. Then grab one of the yellow gears, and notice how all the holes are circle except for the middle one. We want to connect the gear to the middle square hole, and just like that. Again, make sure that this lip is facing towards you. So see that lip that's on the connector pin? Make sure it's facing towards you. Then I want you to grab 2 of the black standoffs and line your gear up so that the bottom row is fairly straight. And you're going to put one of them in the middle hole at the bottom. Notice how that's the middle. And then the other one on the left side in the middle hole. Just like that. Now grab your second gear and line it up, and you just want to sandwich it right on top. Okay, so now you have something that looks like this. It should be able to spin freely. Okay. Now you should only have 2 more pieces left. Okay, so one piece that you have left is the gray connector pin. Remember, make sure it's the one that's gray and not the one that's white. It's a little bit longer. And you're going to put the short end, notice how this end right here is shorter. Put the short end through the square. Again, everything on the camera that's facing forward should also be facing you as you're looking at it. Okay. And then grab that second corner connector, the last piece that you have, and if you turn it around, you want to line this gray connector pin up with the right side. So line that up. Notice how the lip is facing away from me. So both lips of these corner connectors are facing each other. Okay. Now sit that down for a second. And you're going to bring your board back in front of you. Okay. Now to connect this, you want the side that has, I guess you kind of, let's call this a nail head. The side that has the nail head pushed in. So this side has like the nail head pushed out, and this side has it pushed in. You want this side facing you. Okay, so I'm gonna just sit that facing me for a second. And we're gonna put this in the 8th. We're gonna put this in the 8th and the 10th hole. So if I start over here, I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and sorry, I said 8, but I want to mean 9, so 9 and 10 hole. So seeing how there's 2 pins right here, this is the 9th hole, that's the 10th hole, so I'm going to put that on top. Okay, now your second connector pin should automatically line up in the holes, so let's push that down. And the second one is just 4 rows up. So this first one was in the bottom row. Pull this up to you. This first one that you just connected was in the 9th and 10th hole. And then the second one should automatically line up to the 4th row. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's pushed into the 4th row. Alright, so moving on. The pieces that you're going to need is 2 more of these black standoffs. This time you're going to need the longer one, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It has 8 little divots, little pockets in it. So you're going to need 2 of those. You're going to need 1 of your 4 by 8 rectangle pieces. You're going to need the last one of your 2 by 3 corner connectors, just 1. and 2 of your 1x1 corner connectors. Notice that these have 2 connector pins at the bottom instead of 1. So 2 of those. And then 1 white connector pin. First thing you're going to do is grab that connector pin and put it inside of the 1x1. Grab your rectangle, and on the top row furthest right, make sure that the connector pin is sticking up. Go ahead and attach that together. Just like that. Now come to your board, and you're going to attach these 2 connector pins to the 2nd and the 5th hole at the bottom. So make sure you're in the bottom row. So that looks just like that. I'm in the bottom row, in the 2nd and the 5th. Now we still have some pieces left, so grab your 2x3 corner connector and your 2 black standoffs, and with the lip facing away from you, you're going to put these 2 corner connectors in the top row. I mean, sorry, not corner connectors, 2 standoffs in the top row. Okay. And we're going to count across to on the right square, just to remind you. We're going to count across 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to count up to the 2nd and 3rd hole. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this is 1, and that's 2, and that's 3. So we put this in number 2 and number 3. Notice that the lip is facing towards the yellow gears, and it's away from the standoffs. Alright, next, you're going to need 2 more of those same standoffs you just used. Okay, so I have 2 more, the same size. And I'm going to come over here to the 10th hole. Let me count that across for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to come up to this 2nd. So this is 1, that's 2. So I'm going to put 1 in the 2nd hole, and then my 2nd one in the 3rd hole. Now I'm going to need to grab 2 more of my corner connectors. So I'm back to the 1x1, but notice that now I'm using the ones that has just 1 pin at the bottom. So I need 2 of those with just 1 pin, and then I need 2 of the white connector pins. 2 corner connectors, 2 white connector pins. With the lip facing away from you, put the corner connector inside. Put the connector pin inside the corner connector. Just the lip is facing away. Do the same thing to the other one. And for this, I'm still on the right square. The first one with the lip facing away from me, so facing down the board. I'm over here, and I'm going to come to the 11th and a half hole. So starting from the left is number 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then come up is 11 and a half. And I'm going to stay in the first hole, so 11 and a half right there at the bottom. Bring that up so you can see it. So here's number 11, here's number 12. I'm right there in the middle in the first hole. Now we're going to take our 2nd connector pin and we're going to put it in the 6 and a half hole. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. go diagonal and it's half. And make sure that the connector pin is facing you and the lips are facing away from you. Now grab your second 4x8 rectangle. Grab your 2x2 square. Just need one of them. Grab one of the white connector pins. And grab one of your 1x1 corn connectors, but it's the one with 2 connector pins at the bottom, not the one with 1. So with your rectangle in your hand, put the corn connector at the top row, but on the left side with the lips facing up. So notice the lips are facing up, the bottom half is flat. Take your white connector pin, put it at the top. So it should look. Alright, so now that we have our corner connector and everything attached to our rectangle, we're going to turn it around so that the pieces that we attach are away from us and on the right side, and we're going to attach this rectangle to these 2 connector pins on the board, and we're going to attach it in the first and the last hole on the bottom row. So it looks something like this. So notice how both of these corner connectors are touching. Well, not touching, they're facing each other, and we're on the bottom row and everything is connected. Now grab your 2x2 square piece and just connect that right on top of your 2 standoffs and your 2 corner connectors. So that should look something like this. And now we can go ahead and sit this beam to the side for a second. Alright, so go ahead and grab one of your 2x20 beams. It's the longest one you have in your set, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. So it's 2 across, 20 up. And grab one of your dark gray connector pins, the dark gray ones with the square ends on them. And we're going to, starting in the middle row, the middle column, sorry, we're going to count up 6 holes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and we're going to put our dark gray connector pin in from the back with the longest end coming towards us. So go ahead and put that in. Push that, so that should look something like that. Should be sticking out on both sides kind of evenly. Then go ahead and grab your gear. It's kind of like the medium size one, so you have one that's a little bit smaller than this, but you want this one. And you're going to put your gear on top of that connector pin with the teeth. See how the teeth is facing me? The teeth should be facing up, so it should not look like this when it's looking at you. It should look like this. Let's go ahead and put that on. Okay. Now grab your gray connector pin. Now make sure you have the gray one. You have one that's white that looks exactly like this. If you use the white one, it will not work. So make sure you have the gray one, and the gray has kind of like a square shape at the bottom. And we're going to count to the 3rd hole on that same middle row. So 1, 2, 3. And this time we want the nail, like the top head, to be facing towards us. So it should look like that when you're looking at it, holding it in your hand. Okay, put that down for a sec. Go ahead and look for your larger 60 tooth gear. It should be dark gray. And then your smaller gear that looks just like this. Go ahead and grab both of those and flip this 2x20 beam that you've been working with. Flip that over, and I want you to put the larger gray gear on that bottom ring. using this middle square hole. Notice how all the holes are circle except for the one in the middle of the square. I'm going to attach that just like that. And take your smaller gear and attach that on the back side. Remember, we're still working on the back to the other connector pin. There we go. So they should both be able to rotate pretty freely. And then we'll go ahead and put that down for a sec as well. And grab your corner connector that has one hole on top and one connector at the bottom. Grab one of your white connector pins, and you're going to make sure the lip is facing you, but the connector pin is facing away from the lip. So that would look something like that. So the lip is facing me, but the connector pin is in the back, facing away from the lip. And flip over the beam again so that you're on the side that has just one gear attached. And come down to the first hole and connect your pin. The connector pin that you just added, connect that to the bottom. Now grab one of your standoffs. It should be a standoff that has 4 divots in it, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Attach that right in between, so the second hole in the middle row. So it should look like that. Okay, put that down again for a second and grab a second standoff. Again, it should be the exact same size. This has 4 divots in it, and I'm going to put this at the top in the middle row, but the second hole. So count down 2, put that in there, and again we're working on the side that has, notice we're still working on the side that has just one gear, not the back side, on the front side. Next, go ahead and grab 2 of the 1x6 beams. So again, technically there's 7 holes in here, but we don't count this middle hole. This middle hole is considered the shaft hole. Some people might call it the motor hole. But if we count all the other holes on the outside, it should be 6. So 1, 2, 3, skip the middle, 4, 5, 6. Take those 2, let's put one down for a second. Let's work with just this one first. I'm going to grab 2 white connector pins, and we're going to put one in the back side of the 1x6 beam. Oh well. One in the back side. Let's sit that there on the right, and then grab your second one and put at the top hole one in the back side on this. So sit that on the left side. Okay. Then grab 2 of these black corner connectors. So these, here's what they look like. They kind of have a round shape, and then they have connector pins on both sides. You need 2 of those. Okay, so let's start with the left. One is going to go on the bottom row. Like that. When you put it in, you want to make sure that this connector pin right here is sticking down, and if you were to tilt it, the lip is facing away from the beam. Okay, so that's one. Do the same thing to this one on the right side. Here, you want the lip to be facing towards the beam. So the right side, the lip is facing towards the beam. On the left side, the lip is facing away from the beam. Let's put both of those down. Now grab your 9-inch shaft. It's a metal piece. Now if you don't have the book anymore, you could just grab a ruler and measure this up. It should be 9 inches or very close to it. And then you want to grab 2 of these are called shaft collars, and you're going to put one on each end. So one on this end on this end. Even them out just a little bit. And now grab the corner connector that is 2 by 2, and it has 2 connector pins on each side. What you want to do with that is, using the middle hole, just stick this shaft straight through. So it should look like that. But keep pushing till you have a little space at the bottom. Let me put that down for 1 sec. Then you need to grab another one of your medium-sized gears. So it looks like that on the front and that on the back. And grab a washer. So here's a washer. Okay. And you're going to put the washer on first. Okay, put the washer on first, so if you can see it down there. And then put put the gear on with the teeth facing down, and the shapes right there to kind of uneven, have that facing up. So it should look like this. It should look like that when you're looking at it. Push that down a little bit. And we're going to do the same thing to the top half. So grab another one of those connector pins. Make sure that the lips are facing down. Put a washer. Whoops. Put a washer on. Get one of the gears. Drop in everything now. Put the gears on. Okay, so both lips are facing each other. And let's push it to this. So it's kind of even. So it should look like that. Okay, set that down for 1 moment. Now, take the piece you just made and the 2 by 20 beam that you have halfway done, and we're going to attach this in the 8th row. So starting from the bottom, I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I'm attaching this in the 8th row. Now, if you attached it correctly in the 8th row, automatically this one should line up to the 15th row if you have it pushed all the way up. So the bottom one, I'm snapping into the 8th row, and then the top is in the 15th row. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so if you have everything attached right, when you twist this gear down here, it should also twist this gear, and it should also twist this gear. So everything should be connected. If it's not rotating really easy and really nicely like that, one of the gears are facing the wrong way. So take some time to figure out which one is wrong if you're not getting a nice spin. Now, grab those 2 1x6 beams that you made earlier, and you're going to count up to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th row, and with the beam facing away from you, you're going to attach this to that 2 by 20 beam, and then you're going to attach the left side in that same 5th row. Okay, so that looks something like that. Now grab your second 2 by 20 beam, the only one that you have left. Okay, and we're just going to sandwich that right on top. So everything should be lined up in the same hole. So let's get this. I just want to sandwich it. Okay, so now everything is one. Alright, so now next what we're going to do is we're going to find our black plastic shaft. So it looks just like the metal one, but it's black and it's plastic. It has a topper on one end and it's open on the other end. We're going to grab our smallest gear, and then we're going to also grab one of the washers. Okay, so here's a washer. It's really thin. So you're going to put the gear on first. Slide that gear all the way down so that it's pushed up against the top. Put the washer on second. Oops. Okay. Now starting from this end, notice that we still have the gray gear flat against the table. That's not the side we're working on the top half. So the gear should be down. We should be working on the side that has that corner connector that we just attached. And we're going to count up to the 16th hole in the middle row. So make sure you're in the middle. And we'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. And we're going to put our shaft through. But we're not going to push it all the way through because we still have some stuff to put in there. So just push it a little halfway through. I'm going to hold that and find your medium-sized gear. It's gray. And you're going to put that inside of the shaft. Make sure that the teeth are facing inwards, like how I'm doing here. Let me slide that on. Okay, now you can push it all the way through. And to keep it in place, you're going to get a shaft collar. Here's what a shaft collar looks like. And put that on the end. The shaft collar will hold it in place. Now, you know you did it right because when you turn the gear, it should make everything turn. Now, if you're turning the gear and you're getting some type of friction, or it's not spinning at all, or it spins and it just doesn't seem right, you probably have this gear or one of the other gears facing the wrong way. So if all the gears are facing the right way, everything spins really nicely. Okay, so now go ahead and grab one of your larger gears. So you should have 3 left, so we can grab this one. And grab your second plastic black shaft, just like this. And you should have only 1 washer in your set left. Grab a washer. And we're going to do kind of the same thing that we did already. So we're going to put the shaft through the middle hole in our big gear. Then we're going to put the washer pressed up against it. And now we are at the top hole in the middle. So right here, with top is the top. And we're going to push through. Push all the way through. And to keep it in place, we're going to put a shaft collar. So again, if you spin everything, it should be able to rotate really nice. Okay. Okay, now still with the structure facing the same way with that large gear facing at the bottom, find your 1x3. So this one really has just 3 holes, so that should be really easy to find. And grab 2 white connector pins. So 1, 2, and attach 1 to the top and attach 1 to the bottom. Make sure they're on the same side. So see how they're both sticking out on the same side. And again, we're still on this same side that has the large gear, small gear, and our corner connector at the bottom. We're going to attach this that we just made in the 10th and the 12th hole in the middle row. So counting with me from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here's number 10. Let's put my finger there. And the second part goes into number 12. So that's in the 10th and 12th hole. Alright, so now put this structure to the side for a second. Okay, with our main structure that we just made to the side, grab one of the yellow 2x10. Now you'll find it and you'll see that it's 11 holes, but as we said in the past, we don't count the middle hole. So when it says 1x10, yes, it has 11 holes on the beam, but if you don't count the middle one, you'll have 10. So grab that one, grab the corner connector that looks like this. Okay, grab 2 white connector pins and turn the connector away so that the lip is away from you. Take one connector pin, put it in the top, just like that. Put it in the bottom, just like that. So it's look like this. Grab one of the standoff pieces. Notice how this one only has one of the divots on each side, but the standoff on the bottom row. Notice that the lip is away from me. Make sure when you're building, the lip is not facing you. Everything on top should be this way. It should look like that on the back side. Now grab that beam, connect the white connector pins to the bottom. Just like that. The black standoff piece should be just hanging out right there for the time being. Grab one of your white connector pieces that has a top on it, just like that. And you're going to put that in the top half. So up here, coming from the back side. So again, if it's facing you, it should look like this. And push it until you hear the click. If you flip it over, it should be flat like that. Okay. Now grab one of your smaller 1x8 yellow beams, and you're just going to line the last hole up to that piece that you just added. So last hole to this up. Okay. So now you have a structure that looks kind of like that. 3 connector pins. With the structure looking like this, so that means that the black standoff should be facing up towards you. You're going to put 1 connector pin at the top. Skip this one, go to the third one. Okay, and then go to the fourth hole. So it's in the 1, skip the second, third, and the fourth. Now you have one more 1x8 yellow beam left. So grab that. Grab one of the pins again that has the top on it, and it's white. And from the back, oops. That's what it should look like. Now, take this one, and you're going to put the bottom half onto this connector pin. Okay, so now you have something that looks like this. Alright, so now we have this structure done. Go ahead and grab our piece that we made in the past, and we're going to attach this on here. So you have to rotate your gears so that when you look at it, there should be, on the furthest left, should be one right on the diagonal. Now, like if I rotate it this way, if I look at the left, there's nothing right on the immediate diagonal. If I rotate it this way, same thing. There's only one way that it can fit, so keep rotating until you find the right way. All right. Now the connector pin at the top is going to go into the furthest right hole, and the third and the fourth is going to go into the bottom left, and this one on the diagonal right across from it. Now it'll only fit one way, so if you're trying it one way and it's not working, keep spinning the gear until you find the right spot. Okay, so that goes there. And then the bottom half of this, of the other yellow beam, is going to go right there in that middle hole between the 1x3. So it looks like that. Notice that the corner connector, everything is facing away. All this is at the top. Nothing's going on in the back. Back should still look the same. And make sure that these two like legs down here are sticking out. We're going to need those later for it to attach to the board. All right, push this to the side just for 1 second so you have a little space. And grab your right angle beam. Okay. And grab 2 of the connector pins. So right angle beam, 2 connector pins. We're going to attach 1, 2. Then we're going to grab our forklift, the forklift shovel, and we're going to put it in the first and the second one from the right. So from the right, and it looks like this. And then now bring your structure back. We're going to attach this. Make sure the shovel is facing that away from you, and the connector pin should be facing towards you. And we're going to connect those two to the open holes. Okay. So now the forklift should be facing away from you, and it should look like this. So it does this motion. Okay. Right now I'm on step 37, and I'm going to grab my 2x8 beam and 3 connector pins, and I'm going to start over here on my left side in the bottom row. Put this one on the bottom left. Come to the far right of the bottom row with my second connector pin, and then come to on the right side to the top row and the second one from the right. And you also need your standoff. Notice which one that I'm using. There's 3 holes in the middle on one side, and I'm going to put that on the furthest right corner at the top of my 2x8 beam. So it should look something like that. So now grab your 2x16 beam, and you're going to attach it to the top row, up here, at the bottom of the 2x8. So that should look like this. So now it looks something like that. Only thing that should be sticking out is the connector pin, the white connector pin at the top, and the black standoff at the top. Now go ahead and, using the same structure that you just built, find 2 of the standoffs that look just like this, and you're going to put 1 in the first middle hole on the left, like that, and you're going to put the second one on the bottom row, but the second hole. So on the bottom row, second hole from the right. So that should look something like that. Now find your second. You should have another, what is this, a 2x16 beam, and you're going to sandwich this right on top. So the same way that you lined the holes up here, you're going to line this one up on top the same way. Just like that. So that's what that looks like. Moving along to step number 40. Grab one of your white connector pins, one of these, and we're going to be on the top row, and we're going to count over 8 holes on the top row. So we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we put our white connector pin in. So you should have a connector pin sticking out here in the front, and then back here on our 2x here you should have one white connector pin and one black standoff sticking out. I'm going to grab my 1x6 beam, and I'm going to grab a white connector pin, and I'm going to put it in the second hole from the right. So it is the right side. Let's count over 1, 2. Go ahead and put that in. And the first hole on the left side is going to go on our structure that we built in the last step, and it's going to connect just like this. 1 second. Just like that, and it should be able to move. Okay, now grab one of the smallest standoffs, looks like that, and we're going to go to the middle row, and we're going to count to the 4th hole from the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're following along with the book or the online instructions, then you'll see that on step 41 it calls it, it says that it's hole number 12 and a half. That's just they're starting from the left counting across. So if you start from the left counting across, yes, it will be 12. But if you start from the right, it will be 4. Now you're going to go ahead and bring your forklift structure in right in front of you, and we're going to attach this structure to the forklift structure. So you want to flip it over so that the forklift side is down, because that's the back side. We're not going to work on that right now. We're going to attach the white connector pin and this black standoff to this structure, and it's going to go, the black standoff is going to go in hole number 11, and the white connector pin is going to go in hole number 9, and we're starting our count from the top. So if I have it flipped over and I start on the back side from the left, or actually it'll be your right, I'm going to count down to number 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9. Okay, so number 9 is where my white connector pin is going to go. Alright, and then number 11 on the opposite side is where my black connector pin is going to go. So if this is number 9, count down 10, 11. So this is step number 41 still, and it should look just like this. Okay. On to step number 42. Here's all the pieces that we'll need for that. We're using the corner connector that has 2 holes going straight down and 2 connector pins at the bottom of it. So grab 2 white connector pins with the lip facing towards you. Attach the connector pin so that the connector pin is following towards the lip. Okay. Both of them in. It should look something like that. And here I have my 1x10 beam, and I'm going to attach this 1x10 beam to the bottom 2 rows. Okay, so I'm at the bottom 2 rows. Notice that the lip is facing out and is facing towards me. And grab your 2x2 offset corner connector. Looks just like this. And you're going to grab 2 of these white connector pins that has the tops on them. And with the connector pins facing towards you, you're going to put these white pieces in through the back. So if the connector pins are facing towards you, coming through the back, or you could consider it coming from the side where the lip is. So it looks like that. And the top row, I'm going to put the second. So both of them are the top row. Looks just like that. Grab your 1x10 beam again. And we're going to connect this piece that we just made to the 4th and the 5th hole. So we're starting from here. The left side is number 1. We're going to count down to number 4 and 5, and we're going to attach this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's 5. I'm still on the back side, just like this piece is. So we're still on the back side. And that's in number 4 and 5. And notice both pins are on the same side. So there shouldn't be one pin over here, one pin on the front, one pin on the back. They both are on the same side. And now we're on to step number 44. And I have my beam. It's the 2x1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2x9 beam. And I want to grab 2 standoffs. So these 2 standoffs here. So you grab 2 of them. The first one is going to go in the middle row on the far left. The second one is going to go on the middle row on the far right. Okay, looks just like that. Grab a connector pin, come down here to the bottom row and put it in the 6th hole. So starting from the left, count over 6 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the bottom row. And this connector pin that we just attached is going to go to the top row of our 1x10 beam, just like this. Notice that my corner connectors from before are still in the back, and now my beam is in the back. It looks just like this. Find your second 1x6 beam, and you need another connector pin. And we're going to put one connector pin on the far left at the top facing towards you, and the second connector pin at the far right facing away from you. So one on the left is facing towards you, one on the right is facing away from you. Now grab your second 2x9 beam, and we're going to attach the beam that we just put together to this one. So come over here, again starting from the left is number 1. We're going to be on the bottom row. We're going to come to hole number 7. So number 7 is here. And we're going to attach it so that the only part that's sticking out is the bottom half, and the connector pin is sticking away from us. So that looks just like this. Now grab your structure that you made in the previous steps, and we're going to attach everything to each other. So these 2 standoffs are going to go in the far left and in the far right. So once we have the top snapped together, this bottom connector pin that's just down here hanging is going to get connected to the 5th hole from the bottom. So we count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Attach that in. And now it looks something like that. Now find your plastic piece. I already folded mine along the line. Yours probably came in the pack flat like this, but they have creases in it, so go ahead and fold them along the creases. And this part can be a little tricky sometimes, but we're going to fold it along the creases and we're going to attach it to our structure. So to do this, you're going to need those short connector pins that kind of look like really short nail tops, and you're going to need 5 of those. So we get 5. So 5 of those. And with the beam, this beam right here facing towards you, put the longest part of the car on the outside of the structure. Make sure it's on the outside, and you're going to attach it to the top row. So these 3 holes facing towards you are attached to the top row, and use these short nails sorry, not nails, short connector pins that kind of look like nails to hold out that plastic shield in place. So 1, 2, and 3. And then when you flip it over, we're still on that top row. And this part may be a little difficult because if you have a brand new kit, your plastic is probably still very flat, so it's probably not bending really nicely, but you may have to just put a little force into it and it'll stay. And we're going into the top row. Just take your time and all the holes should line up and it should look something like that. So this will be the chute that the balls in our forklift will come down. Alright, so now that our structure is done, we're going to move on to step number 47, and we're going to again bring our forklift in. So here's our forklift. Let's get a better zoom on that. Zoom out a little bit. Okay, here's our forklift. I have the yellow end facing up, and the forklift is facing away from me. And on the structure that we made, that will be the slot for the balls, I'm going to connect these 2 connector pins to the middle hole on the 7th and the 6th row. So we're in the middle. Bring it up here a little bit. We're in the middle. And we're going to go to the 7th and the 6th hole. Alright, so that will be right here. Counting from the bottom. Sorry about that. Counting from the bottom, 7th and 6th. So if you count up here, this is 6, this is 7 in the middle. And it should look something like this. So the balls come from down here, drop it off in the chute. Alright, now that everything on the forklift is attached, we're going to go ahead and find our base. Bring our base into the picture. So when you find your base, make sure that the gears are furthest away from you. So the yellow gears that are attached to the base already, make sure they're furthest away from you. Now I'm going to do a close-up on the board to show you where I'm going to attach it, and then I'm just going to attach it away from the screen. So we're going to attach, if you look at the bottom of your forklift, if you put these 2 little legs up, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 connector pins, connector legs on the bottom of our forklift. So these 5 pins are what we're going to focus on right now. They're going to go into the board. And you're going to attach it to the board so that the yellow forklift is away from you. So that would mean that the first pin that's going to come in contact, that we're going to focus on first, is going to be these 2 legs here. Okay, so these 2 connector pins. So if you have the big gear facing towards you and the yellow forklift facing away from you, you should see these 2 connector pins. These 2 are going to go in the 5.5 and 6.5 row, and then the second column. So let me show you what that looks like on the board. So if I'm starting from the top of the board, I'm going to count down to 5.5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if I'm doing 0.5, that means I need to come across diagonal. 5.5, right? So now we're in the 5.5 row. Then we're going to come across 2. So 1, 2. And you should be directly in front of the black corner connector that's already attached to the base. So that's where these 2 nubs right here are going to go. So 1 is going to go in 5.5, and the second one will automatically line up to 6.5. And if you put those 2 in the right spot, everything else will line up. So let me go ahead and do that. So now the next 2 things to attach are these legs. You should have the legs, rotate. You should have the legs not attached yet. So the legs are going to go in the 8th row. So starting from the top, again, you're starting from the top, count down 8, and it's going to go on the furthest row. And then the right leg is going to go on the 8th row as well, but you're going to count across from right here at the bottom, and it will be on the 8th. So it should be on the same line. Now when you're attaching them, you're going to feel a little resistance. It's going to feel like you're going to have to put pressure on it, like you're forcing it to go somewhere, but it's just because it's a tight fit. So if you're getting some pushback as you're trying to connect it. You may feel like, oh, you're breaking it. You're not breaking it. That's just kind of how it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that. So there we go. See, that was even a tight fit, kind of difficult for me to put together. But now we have our forklift on. So see, it should rotate up, and then it will drop the balls off like that. So let's keep going. Now again, go ahead and set your base to the side. You won't be needing that for the time being. Grab a 1x14 beam. Get that close. And you're going to need to grab some connector pins. So grab those white connector pins. And starting from the left, we're going to put a connector pin in the second hole, facing towards us. The third hole, facing towards us. Oh, and if you're following along on the book, this is step number 49. And then just coming from the right, the second to the last hole, facing towards us again. Okay. Then grab your gray connector pin. Make sure it's the gray one. You have a white one that looks just like this. Make sure it's the gray one. Notice that this gray one has a square top instead of a circle at the bottom, so make sure you have the right one. If you have the white one, it's not going to work, and then you won't realize it until you're halfway done. So this gray piece is going to go in the 9th hole. So this is number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, so the gray piece is going to go in the 9th hole. So we can go ahead, count across. This will be number 7. That will be number 8. Remember, we skipped the middle hole. And that would be number 9. Go ahead and put that in. Push it in. Notice how the top is pushed in and the pin is facing away from me. Okay. Now grab 2 corner connectors. Black pieces like this. They have kind of like a triangle hole shape to them. Grab 2 of those. And you're going to need 4 white connector pins. 4 white connector pins. So do one at a time with the lip facing towards you. So notice the lip for 1, 2. See how that looks? Corner, lip, that's 1. 1, 2, and that's 2. Now grab 2 of the 2x3 beams, and they're both going to get attached to the corner connectors on the bottom row. So, bottom row, grab your second one, attach it to the bottom row, just like this. Now grab your structure. You're going to connect the 2x3 beams to the 1x14 beam on the top row. Just like that. Grab your second one. You're going to attach it to the left hole. And the right hole is going to be open for the time being. When you attach it to your structure, it won't be like that. Now find 2 of the large gray gears. Should be the last 2 that you have left in your set if you have been doing everything right. And you're going to attach the middle to the middle gray connector pin on the back side. Should be able to spin nicely. And you're going to find your plastic shaft. This plastic shaft has So if you've done VEX before, if you've played with other VEX sets, they will call this the motor shaft because it has this like ring around it. So this will be a motor shaft, but in this kit they don't call it that, but it's just a plastic shaft, the short one. Grab that, attach it to your gear. Notice how I'm putting the long end through, not the short end. So long end through, so it looks like that. And coming again from the back side, I'm attaching it to that one hole that is open. Whoops, that's not good. Let's try this one more time. Attach it to the one hole that's open, then put our shaft collar on. That was my fault. Shaft collar before you give it a spin. Okay, shaft collar's on. Now you can give it a spin. Everything should rotate nicely. And that was step 51. Now find your base again. Here's our base. Rotate it so that we see the back side of it. Zoom out for you here. Okay, so make sure that it's sitting so that these yellow gears are away from you, the forklift is away from you. And we're going to attach our structure to row 2.5. So if I come down here to the bottom, here, let me bring this up towards you all. Come down here to the bottom. This time we're going to start counting from down here instead of at the top. So this will be row 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. So row 2.5 is where we're going to attach the structure that we just made with these gears facing away from us. And if you put these two in the right hole, everything else over here will line up. Let me do that. Now, if you did it right, there should be 3. Let me rotate this around for you. If you know you did it right, because there should be 3 large gears now attached, and when you spin, they should be able to make everything rotate really nice. Okay. Now grab your last gear, your last yellow gear at least. Grab the last metal shaft that you should have left. It's the longest one, the 12-inch one, and put that straight through the middle. See how I'm in the middle? It's a square shape instead of a circle shape. Put that through. Grab your shaft collar. Put that on the left end. Okay. And grab one of the white connector pins that has the tops. So it has the top one. And you're going to attach it. So if this is facing towards you, you're going to attach it to this far right side. Far right side at the bottom, pin facing away from you. Okay. Now you're going to grab this piece. This is going to be the turning knob for the forklift. Once we have everything built, you'll understand what it's used for. But you're going to attach the turning knob to the connector pin. Now make sure you have it on the right side. So one end, let me try to get a nice focus on that. One end of this knob is circle, and one end is square. Make sure you're attaching it to the circle side. Bring your structure back in. This time, rotate the base so that this shield is facing towards you. Alright, so you have it so that this plate is the shield is facing towards you, and we're going to attach the shaft straight through our structure. Now let me get in close so you can see it. The hole that we're going to attach it is the furthest right and this second hole from the top on the furthest right. So right side, second hole from the top. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Also, make sure you grab this is, I can't think of the name of it right now, but make sure you grab this piece. It's a little bit smaller than the shaft collar. It's kind of, it'll be used as a barrier between the gear and this plate. So go ahead and put that on first. I'm going to slide that down. Now I'm going to attach it. Okay. Now I'm going to stop right here halfway before I slide it all the way through. And I'm going to grab my smallest gear and also another shaft collar. I'm going to put the shaft collar on first. See how I stopped halfway? Put the shaft collar on first. Put the gear on second. And now keep pushing all the way through. Pushing, 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 pushing. And now put the final shaft collar on the back end so that it doesn't come out of place. Make sure that this small gear is pushed all the way against the large gears and that shaft collar is pushed tight. So, here's a close up what that looks like. My gear is pushed all the way against the beam right here, and my shaft collar is pushed all the way against the gear. So now it's starting to look like something. So if you give your gear, your knob a twist, you can kind of see how the forklift is going to actually start to work. Okay. Now again, set your base to the side. This time you're going to grab 2 of your 1x14 beams. You're going to grab your connector pins, 4 of them. You're going to grab your L-shaped right angle beam. And you're going to grab 1, 2, 3. 3 of these small standoffs. Alright, starting with 1 of the 1x14 beams. Grab 1 white connector pin, put it in the second hole from the left. So 1, 2. Grab a second one, put it in the third hole, right next to it. Okay. Grab a standoff. Make sure you find a standoff that looks like this. Put it in the fourth hole. Grab a second standoff. Same one, should look exactly the same. Put it in the last hole. Okay. Grab your L-shaped right angle beam. Attach the last 2 holes to the white connector pins. Should look like that. Notice how that's flat against it and it's not really hanging off. Only part that should be hanging off is 1 hole. Now grab your second 1x14 beam. And we're going to sandwich it on top. So line it up, line it up, line it up, line it up. So that means it should be in the last hole and the fourth hole. Sandwich it on top. This is what it looks like. Grab your last 2 connector pins for this set of instructions. And we're going to put 1 in the second hole, 1 in the third hole, 2 and 3. Okay. You have another plastic piece in your set, and mine's is already bent up because I've played with this set a lot of times, but yours will come flat like this. Go ahead and bend it at the crease. So there's a crease in the middle, and there's a small little crease on the end. Bend it at the crease, so it has a nice bend to it. And we're going to attach it to our structure. Oops. So just like this. In our first hole. Alright, notice how that's sitting in the first hole. And find your beam that looks like this. This is a 2x5 beam. And you're going to use the 2x5 beam to hold this in place. Just like that. On the bottom row. Just like that. So now it's holding it in place. It's not holding it perfectly in place, but it's holding in place for the time being until we attach everything. So put that down for one moment. Now find your connector pins, the really short one with the nail top, the ones that we used to attach the plastic before. And I want you to flip this structure over. So now you see the one hole on your right. And we're going to attach it to the last hole to hold it in place. Okay. And we're going to attach this hole up here to the third hole. It should already be lined up. All you have to do is stick it through. Okay. Find two of the standoffs that look like this here. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 holes on each column. Okay. See, I have 2 of those here. And I'm going to put these 2 on the top of our 2x5. So that looks like that. Alright, now we still have this one standoff left from our pile, right? So we're going to take this standoff and we're going to attach it to the bottom half of our right angle. Our right angle beam is what this is called. So turn it around so that actually here, let's do this. Have it so that this white piece is on the right side, and put that standoff in so that it's sticking right up towards you. There we go. So that should look like that. So you should have a standoff sticking off down here at the bottom, 2 standoffs sticking out at the top. Now we're still working on this same structure. So grab your 2x6 beam. Looks like this. And we're going to attach it to these 2 standoffs at the top on the top row. So the 4th and the 5th hole from the left. So it looks like this. So if I count it from the left, I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now sit that down, sit that to the side for a sec. And you define the 2 corner connectors that look like this here. Take the moment to find it. Notice there's 2 holes on the top, 2 pins at the bottom of each. And find your long gray connector pin. So notice that this is a gray color instead of a white color. It's longer than the other connector pins, and it has a square bottom to it instead of a circle. You're going to attach it to the top hole. Okay, did that to one. Whatever you do to one, you do to the other. So you're going to do the same thing to the other one. Now you have 2 that are exactly identical. Now you need to grab 2 1x4 beams. Okay, there we go. And we're going to attach 1 to this standoff and 1, sorry, not standoff, corner connector, and 1 to that corner connector. So let's do this one on the left first. Using the middle 2 holes with the pin sticking away from me. Attach it in just like that. Notice that the lip is facing towards me and the pin is facing away from me. Got 1, so do the same thing to the other. Okay. Now grab 2 of the really small standoffs, and we're going to put 2 at the bottom. So 1 on the bottom on the furthest right hole and 1 on the furthest left hole. Okay, and you guessed it, if we did 1 to the left, we're going to do the same thing to the right. So find 2 more. Okay, and I'm just going to do the same thing I did to the left. Okay, now I have 2 identical pieces. Now we're back to playing with our structure. Starting with the left side, we're on step 71. Again, if you're following along in your book or if you're following along online, I'm going to attach it from the left to the second hole. So here's the left, so here's hole 1 and hole 2. Push that in, and that's in there. Now I'm going to flip it over so that this is now on the left side instead of the right side. And I'm going to attach this in hole number 2, just like I did on the other side. Hole number 2 from the right. So they're both sitting across from each other. Zoom out a little bit. So that's what that looks like. Now, grab your base again. This time you want your base sitting towards you so that the knob is facing towards you and these yellow gears facing towards you. So everything yellow should be directly in your face right now. We're going to grab the structure that we just made. Let's back that up a little bit so you can see. Okay. And we're going to attach it. We're going to attach these 2 pins here in the first hole and the 4th hole on the right square. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So with this slot facing away, I'm going to attach it so that it sits right in between the gears. Let me pull this up so you can see it. It's sitting right in between the gears, and I'm going to attach it in the first hole and the 4th hole in the right square. Alright, so if you did it correctly, it looks like this. Everything is all on the same level. It's sitting in between the gear. Also, it should not hit the base. So if you look at it from the back side, my right angle should be slamming into my corner connector that's right there. So when it comes down, sorry, what's going on right here? It's a little stuck. When it comes down, it's actually hitting the corner connector and not hitting the base. Alright, now we're coming down to the home stretch. One more time, we're going to take the base away from us. Now let's start with just one of these 1x9 beams. Okay. Grab 2 of the white corner connectors. Sorry, not corner connectors. Getting all my words confused. 2 of the white connector pins. And we're going to attach it in the 6th and 7th hole. So if you count from the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you get a pin. And 7, you get a pin. And we're going to take one of our corner connectors, and we're going to attach this in the 5th hole. So that's going to go right above. Notice how I'm attaching it so that this connector pin is sticking down. Okay, so if you're holding it like this in front of you, the connector pin is sticking down, or depending on how you're holding it, it's facing towards you. Now grab another one of those corner connectors. Put this in the 8th hole and put it the same way. Oops. Okay. So both of them are now facing the same way. That. Grab a white connector pin and attach it to the bottom. Another thing to notice how the dip is facing up the beam and not down the beam. They're both facing up. So that will be a little important. Now sit that one down. Grab a second beam. And now you're going to need to grab one more of these gray long connector pins. Make sure it's the gray one. Make sure it has a square at the bottom. And we're going to attach this to our new beam that we just got in the 1, 2, 3 in the third hole. So just like that. Alright, now that this is pushed into the third hole, grab that other beam that you already put together, and we're going to attach these two connector pins in the 9th and the 5th hole. So here's hole number 9, or the last hole, you could say. And number 5. So we have the gray connector pin in hole number 3, this black corner connector in hole number 5, and the second black corner connector in hole number 9. So now sit this to the side for one moment. Now grab your third 1x9 beam, and we're going to make the same structure, but it's going to be opposite. So that means first thing we're going to do is grab 2 white connector pins. It's going to go in the 6th and 7th hole. 6, 7. So again, we're doing the same thing, just opposite. So that means when we put this corner connector in our new beam, instead of the pin facing towards us, we want the pin facing away from us. We still have the dip facing up the beam, but this connector pin is facing away from us. Grab the second one, put it at the bottom. Grab a connector pin, put it at the bottom of that. Okay, place that down for one moment. Grab a 2x7 beam, just like that. And we're on step number 76. And using both structures that we made, so this one that has 2 connected to it is going to be our left side, and the other one is going to be our right. We're going to attach the beam just like this. We're going to take the other side with the pin sticking away. Notice how they're sticking away. So it should look something like that. Step number 77. Go ahead and sit this to the side just for 1 second. We'll bring it right back. Grab another one of those 2x7 beams. Grab those last 4 white connector pins that should be in front of you. And we're going to attach them to all 4 corners. So one goes in the top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. All 4 corners. And get 2 of the 1x8 beams. And we're going to attach these 2 beams to our structure, to our other beam that we just put together in the 4th and the 5th hole. So that looks something like that. That looks something like that. So now it should look kind of like an H. Okay? Grab a third 1x8 beam. Set that to the side as well. And grab 2 of these connector pins. So this is a 1x8 beam. This is not a connector pin, sorry, it's a corner connector. looks like that, the ones that we've already using. Coming from the back side, attach it so the pin is straight up. Sorry, and actually I did this one backwards. Attach it so that not only is the pin straight up, but the opening is going facing down. So you want both openings. Notice how both openings are facing each other. Make sure they're not facing out, make sure they're facing in. It should look like that on the back side. Now grab your H shape and you're going to attach it to the top from the back. Okay, that was step 79. Now on to step 80. That plastic piece looks just like this. You're going to lay that directly on top of the piece that you just made in step number 79. Okay. And you're going to find again those small connector pins with the top on it that you used before. And we're going to line it up. We're going to attach it in the second hole from the top. Sorry, and actually, this is on backwards. Make sure you attach it so that the VEX words are reading from left to right. It's not that big of a deal, but it looks nice. It doesn't affect how the robot works, but make sure the words are readable. So again, I'm going ahead and put it in the, one second here. I'm going to line it up to the top two holes. So notice that small, the one loner hole is on the left side by itself. That goes in the bottom row. And put the fourth one in the top. So just like that. Now you have this odd looking piece. Again, I can't think of the name of what this is called right now. We've been working for a while, but find the piece that looks like this and two standoffs, the smallest ones that look like this. And with the opening going towards your left side, put the two standoffs in the bottom of the piece. Okay, and then you're going to attach that to those two holes that are left exposed. Just like that. Okay. Now bring in your structure that should already be made. And bring in one more, well, it should be the last one of this set. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's a 1x9 beam. We are on step number 82. And we're going to go ahead and attach it. So to do that, this gray connector pin is kind of just sliding freely. This gray connector pin is going to go into this black corner connector right here. Let's go ahead and line that up. Okay, and it should be swinging. It should be kind of like a swinging door. You're going to take this beam and you're going to find another one of those gray connector pins, top and a square at the bottom. You're going to attach it into the third hole from the top, 1, 2, 3. And you're going to attach it to the right side. I'm going to do the same thing. Attach it right there in that middle hole, like so. And attach it to the fifth and the last hole of the beam. Take your time, do one of them first. I'll do the second one last. So it looks something like that. Okay, again, sit this to the side for one moment. Now we're on step number 84. For this one, you're going to need 2 of the 1x8 beams. So it's 2. And you're going to need some white connector pins. I'm just going to grab a few. With the connector pins away from me, I'm going to put one in the right side, in the back, and in the left side, in the back. So those pins should be facing away from me. I'm going to take my other one and do the same thing. Left side, right side, both facing away. Pull your structure from step number 80 back in front of you. Now lift this shield up, and now we're going to work on the inside. So we're going to connect this pin here to that inside. So we're going to attach one on the right. And we're going to attach one on the left. Notice that the white pins, the white connector pins that's on the other half is sticking out. Both of them are sticking away from each other. Sit that to the side again really quick. And step number 85. Almost there. Grab one 1x9 beam. It's this here. 2 more of these corner connectors. And of course, we need a connector pin. Take this beam. We're going to attach the first one to the bottom. That's the last hole. Make sure that this connector is away from you. We're going to attach the second one to the 6th hole. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Both times the opening is facing up. The opening is facing up. The pins are facing the same way, and it's going away from me. Grab another 1x9 pin. Sandwich these two together. So the last hole and the 6th hole. Just make a sandwich. Sandwich and sandwich. Just like that. Okay. Both openings again are facing up. Slide your structure on in here again. Rotate your structure so that the VEX sign is facing away from you. And we're going to work on the right side. So again, the sign is facing away from you, working on the right side. We're going to attach this pin to our bottom right here in the 2nd hole. Okay, so it looks something like this. Looks just like that. And we're going to sit our VEX sign on the shelf like that. Now you should have another one of the plastic sheets. Again, yours should be flat. Mine is just bent up a little bit because my kid is old. Find the one that has 2 rectangles on it and bend it at the crease. Bend it, bend it, bend it. It's nice and flexible. And we're going to wrap it around our structure, kind of like a curtain. So when you attach it, make sure you put it on the right side. So if you are struggling and it seems like that the plastic just doesn't fit, you probably have it on the wrong side. So this back end is shorter than this side end. So make sure you attach all that stuff together correctly. It should look like this. So now slide this piece that you just made away from you just for a sec. And go ahead and find 2 white connector pins and also 2 of the pieces that look like this here. And you're also going to need your longest standoff piece. So that looks like that. Now you're going to connect the standoff to these 2 pieces. But notice how I have the lip facing down and the slope facing towards me. I'm going to attach it on that top row like that. Pay attention to the way that I have it attached, this side towards me. Do the same thing on the other side. Now grab those 2 white connector pieces and put those on the outside. So it should be sticking out on the right and also sticking out on the left. Now, so we have now the second half of step 88 is to now bring your structure, and now we're going to attach this piece to our frame. If you look at it right here from the side, we're going to attach this connector pin to that second hole. Now moving on to step number 89. Grab what should be your last beam. So this is a 1 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1 by 9 beam. This should be your last corner connector. Go ahead and grab that and attach it to the bottom of the beam. Notice that the connector pin is facing down. The opening is facing away from me. And I'm going to attach it, this white connector pin right here, to the second hole, and the bottom connector to the 8th hole. So it looks something like this. Now you're going to take, if you have not done so already, you may have already realized that we didn't put it on yet, but you should have one connector piece, one of the white connector pins left. And notice how all of them have a connector pin on the end except for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the bottom. So when you flip it over, all of them should have places for it to attach to the base. Okay, so go ahead and stand that up. Grab your last plastic sheet, and we're going to put that on the open side of our structure, attaching it to the top holes using 4 of our connector pins with the tops on them. And that's that piece. So now it's time to attach this to our base. We'll go ahead and find your base. Stand out here so you can see. Now this is going to go back here in this open spot. So I'm going to flip it around so that the gears, all of that is away from me. go ahead and flip your structure around so that the VEX words in the opening are away for you. Alright, so now we're going to attach this in the middle row from the top. So if this is the right side and this is the right square, we're going to attach it not in the first row, but in row 1.5, right there on that first hole. Now if you do it correctly, it should automatically line up to the 5th one in the same row, in that half row. So we're going to go ahead and attach that. And if you spin it around, here's what it looks like. Alright, almost there. So step 92. Go ahead and grab these 2 hinges. And also grab the last shaft that you should have left, the plastic shaft. And attach one hinge to the small end and one hinge to the long end. Okay. Now make sure that your structure is facing, everything is facing towards you. And we're going to attach these openings here and here to our, just get it a little closer so you can see it. We're going to attach one to this shaft here and the other to this pin right here that's sticking out, so everything will connect when we rotate it. Now here's a close-up of what the entire structure actually looks like. Now there's actually one more crucial step that we have to do that's not in the instructions. And if you look on all the pictures and if you look on the poster, they added this piece, but they didn't show you how to add it in the instructions. So what you need to do is you need to find 2 of these medium length standoffs. So it's the standoffs with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2 of the standoff that has 8 holes in it. You have to attach these to the base. If you don't attach these 2 standoffs to the base, the balls won't be able to travel down. So I'm gonna zoom in right here to show you where. So the first standoff is going to go in the 6th hole on the bottom of the left side. So we're on the left side. So here's the whole structure again. So we're at the left. And we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to go right here on the bottom in that 6th hole. Okay, so this one will stop the balls from sliding out on the side. And now this second standoff has to go in. If this is the 6th hole, this has to go to the half and then up 2. So this is 6, this is 6.5, and this is up 2. So it'll sit right here in the middle. It sits right there in the middle of the structure. Now, when you put the balls in the chute, they won't fall off the side and they won't fall off when going down the middle ramp.